Welcome, everybody. We'll just let a few people, some more people rolling in. Lots of people rolling in right now. Lucky for you, you're getting some representation from the Great White North today. So Scott and I are both based in Canada, and for once, we can easily say that our wind chill right now, our temperature is identical in Fahrenheit or Celsius. So it is a balmy -40 up here in Alberta right now. Again, we'll just give it a few minutes as people start rolling in, but we'll launch a few polls right now. So hopefully you can just take a few seconds, familiarize yourself where the chat function is. We are obviously looking for your feedback and any questions you have, but we'll get that launch, those polls launched right now. So the first poll is launching right now.
Hey Neil, where's your toque? I was thinking of putting on the toque today.
Not that cold. All right, look at that. So 72% attended. 74% attended last week's presentation. So we're going to close that poll off.
Good turnout.
That's great. All right, so our next one, we would like you to rate your IQ2 Plus knowledge. Pretty interesting mix so far. A fair amount of folks rating themselves as novice and average. Only 7% right now are thinking they're IQ2 Plus wizards. Very interesting. All right, we'll close that poll off. Looks like just about 85% of people have voted. All right, next one. How long have you been selling IQ2s? Selling or installing? All right, just less than 50% is less than a year. Good mix between more than a year and more than 2 years. And looks like 10% of you have been installing Coolsys products since day one. That is awesome. All right, we're going to have one more poll to share. So we're just curious, which of our Facebook groups are you members of? You'll find that our we'll call it the collective hive on our Facebook groups, including a lot of the TAM team are on those Facebook pages and able to answer a lot of questions for folks. So if you are not on our official Coolsys or technicians installers or sales and marketing or coolsysalarm.com installers, we strongly encourage you to apply. There's a few of the Facebook admins actually on this webinar today, so we'll be able to get you approved relatively quick. So look at that. 33% are part of the official Coolsys technicians and installers, 21% on sales and marketing, and roughly 50% on the coolsysalarm.com installers page. So that's some pretty good attendance we got.
And those are some great sites too for after hours as well. So get a lot of great feedback on there from other technicians as well as like Neil's mentioned the team as well. So.
All right, well, we'll close those off. All right, well, again, so we'll get started. It's 12:04 Mountain Time. So welcome. These are, this presentation should be pretty quick, relatively, I'd say relatively loose. We're going to talk about the top 10 tech support questions and on IQ2 Plus. So these questions will have come from our tech support team, our Facebook pages. So, I think it's, a great opportunity for everybody to, just kind of see what, the collective hive as a rule of thumb is saying is, the big questions they always have. So the first one is, what is the secret to closing the panel easily? So I am going to, we do sometimes have some technical difficulties when doing videos through our GoToWebinar series. So if this does not play correctly, we have actually put the video in the handout section. So if you wanted it, you'll be able to just grab it from the handout section and watch it yourself, but we're going to give this a shot. If it does not work, I'll apologize in advance. I can't control technology, but let's.
I'm just going to jump in for a moment there, bud. Just so you guys are aware as well, we got Mark and Joel in the back end there. So as we're going through this, if you guys have any tech questions or any questions on anything, feel free just to throw them in the chat there, and those gentlemen will jump on those. And we're going to take a break here in a bit too. So thanks, Neil.
All right, welcome guys. We thought we'd shoot this quick little video here today to show you how to close the panel. We're representing our friends up north in Canada with our Qualsys t-shirt today, but want to show you two different ways to close the panel to make it easier for you. So I'm going to start by opening it up here. I press the bottom button here. All right, and we'll do this side, and we'll kind of unlatch it. Now there's two ways. This is an older back plate. As you can see, my antenna is routed inside the wall through the lower right-hand screw hole. If you had the updated back plate, you'd have a dedicated hole for your antenna here. Very important, so we'll just touch on that while we're talking about this. Now, two ways to close this, bottom to top or top to bottom. So I'll show you bottom to top first. I like to go bottom to top because it allows me to get my antenna all the way down inside the wall there. And so what I do is I don't worry about the top, and I just simply latch the bottom, leave the top out completely. And then these are what we call snap tabs, and you're going to take your thumb on the edge of the screen and you're going to push downward at a 45-degree angle until you hear it snap, and there should be 4 of them. 2, 3, 4. There you go, missed that one. So 1, 2, 3, 4, super tight, nice and easy. It's downward pressure on the face of the glass there, kind of at a 45-degree angle. All right, and now we'll show you the top-down method. So we'll go down to the top here. And if you don't like going bottom up, go top down. So we'll worry about the antenna here in a second. I start on the 4 latches, and rather than just swinging it down, the latches are going to come out. So I still kind of lock each latch in, but it's a little bit easier when it's out from the wall like this. And you hear each one, and now my 4 latches are in there nice and tight. And now I have to make sure my antenna gets tucked in here, and that my little strap and wire clears, and that's it. You're good to go.
Some good stuff.
Hopefully that worked for everybody. So let's we'll go back and we'll just start going through here. All right. So, Scotty, what are the options for our secondary keypad?
Oh, we got a couple options there, Neil. Good question. So we have the IQ remote. We spent last week on this, and it connects to your Wi-Fi, and you can have up to 3 of these units on one panel. And then you got the PowerG wire-free keypad. So for that great distance, rural area option where you need to get a keypad a little bit further away, great solution there. So you can have up to a total of 8 keypads with a combination of both keypads there, Neil. And one thing I just want to note too there is in the red there. So, you know, when you're using the PowerG wire-free keypad, we recommend that you use the 9-volt transformer, just for save your batteries, things like that as well. So,
sounds good. All right, All right, so another question we always get are what options are available for additional sounders. So there's a couple different options available for you. So on the top here, you'll see both, you know, we'll call them supported and recommended Bluetooth devices, okay? So they're the Anchor, you can see the models right there. They're both Anchor Bluetooth devices. You know, so what happens when you pair Bluetooth is it does replace the panel sounds and chimes, right? So the only sound that's gonna come from the Bluetooth device, you know, from the panel will be your speaker or your siren, right? So as far as, you know, any chimes, noises, those are going to be replaced from the panel through the Bluetooth. You know, another great option we have are 2 different PowerG devices. So they function a little differently. So they mimic the panels, right? So they mimic the panel's siren, sounds, and chimes, right? So, you know, you're still having your chimes on your panel. You're going to have the chime going through, you know, either the PG9911, which is our exterior outdoor siren strobe, or the PG9901, which is the interior siren strobe. So again, great choice for additional sounders. There's also a pretty cool feature that was released on firmware 252, which basically allows you to turn any PowerG smoke detector into a great option as a sounder as well, right? So when you have this functionality of it, turned on, if a siren's going off, all your PowerG smoke detectors, which are already interlinked, will actually sound as well, right? So super easy to do. You can see exactly how to do it right there. It's as simple as going into the settings, advanced settings, installation, go to sirens and alarms, and you can choose PowerG smoke detector siren, and then you can select all alarms or leave it as fire if you didn't want all alarms to be going through your smoke detectors. So, all right, so another top question we get a lot is how to set up doorbell notifications on the IQ2 Plus. Super simple. You log in through the alarm.com website, and you're going to click video right there. Then you're going to turn around and click settings, and then video device info. So once you've done that, the screen is going to obviously change, and this is where you can now, you'll see at the bottom, you can send your motion notifications to the panel. So if you got a sky bell, somebody's walking in front of it, you can actually have those motion notifications chime directly on the panel. And obviously, you can also have button push notifications show up in the panel too. So somebody presses it on the panel or on the doorbell, it's going to pop up in the panel. You can actually answer it, unlock the door. You can do what, interact, talk to the customer, or talk to your, whoever is visiting your house. You can do it all through the panel as well. All right, so we don't have slides for these per se, because these are more just questions that we obviously get a lot in tech support and on our Facebook pages. So we're just going to go through them one by one. So Scott, I think I'm going to ask you the question and you can answer it. Okay. So the first question is, can I delete all the disarm photos at the same time?
Well, Neil, not currently. Our software teams are looking into this additional functionality in future launches.
Excellent. All right. Can I use the IQ2 without alarm.com?
Well, Neil, it was designed to work with the alarm.com, so functionalities are limited without the alarm.com. So no, not recommended.
Okay. Can I use the IQ2 Plus on cell only or only on Wi-Fi?
That's a good question too. So, we require the cell signal to properly register on the alarm.com. You can use it on Wi-Fi only, but you will always show that trouble cell condition. So, Wi-Fi only is strongly discouraged again. So,
fair enough. All right. Can you use an image sensor on IQ2 Plus?
Well, you can, Neil. Yeah, we can make that happen. So you can, but you got to go in and you got to remove the PowerG daughter board. So you're removing the dual SRF functionality. The panel does have a built-in camera, though, that can be utilized as an image sensor.
Oh, I didn't know that. So if you were going to use your panel camera, as an image sensor, is there something special you have to do on the alarm.com platform to make that work?
Just got to make sure you have the image sensor package and you're good to go.
Would that be Images Plus? I think it is.
Sorry, Images Plus, you got it.
Cool. That's great. All right. Get this all the time. Why does my panel arm and stay only?
So this kind of goes back to a SIA requirement. So auto stay was enabled to help reduce the false alarms. So, if somebody arms to away to go and leave the building and they don't end up leaving, not opening an entry exit, it reverts back. So I can go in there though, under my settings, advanced settings, installation, security and arming, and uncheck the auto stay.
Oh, that's great information to have. All right, we get this a ton. So what is the maximum wire run from a transformer to the panel?
This is a great one, Neil. So one thing I'm stressing with the dealers as well is that if you're going out and you're upgrading a panel or changing out a panel, anything like that, let's make sure we're changing those transformers. As you can see in the early days, we used a 5.5 volt BC and we're looking at less than 25 feet using 22 gauge. Now we're using a 7 volt transformer and now we can get up to that 100 feet with the 22 gauge. So please note the distance will extend a little bit with 18 gauge, but again, just make sure you're using the transformer that comes in your kit.
Excellent. Okay, so before we move on, to the next few, Joel, Mark, do we have any questions that you want to bring to our attention in chat right now?
Sure. Sorry for the delay there. So when you were back on the Bluetooth speakers and giving all that information there, how many speakers could you have per panel?
5 Bluetooth speakers, I believe the answer is, but I may not be 100% correct on that one. Good question, though. I think we need to validate that. I know it's 5 Bluetooth devices as far as phones.
There you go. And there was just a notation about IQ siren being used as well for, at least for alarm conditions. And then someone else who must be joining you up there in the Great White North asking about the negative 40 degrees, saying, is that battery really going to last if we do battery only? And wanted to know if we'll have an option to power those sirens in the future. So I think Joel had answered that, at least to the individual, but I wanted to throw that out there for the group as something that we'll pass along to our product team.
Yeah, no, and that is a great question. So yeah, I actually have my 9911 outside. It's been a rough week temperature wise. It's functioning great. I've had it now for, I want to say 3 years outside. So it is dealing with Alberta winters. Haven't had a low battery yet, so I would say I'm pretty confident the battery will last as kind of spec'd out.
Hey Neil, we got confirmation that it's 1 Bluetooth speaker per panel.
Perfect.
And a lot of thank yous on that video. Got a bunch of people saying thanks for that video on the closing the panel. Said it helped out quite a bit. So.
Yeah, we should have introduced that. If you don't know, that's Kevin Woodworth. He is the global director of our technical account management group. So all of our bosses. We thought the video was pretty timely with Scott and I both being in Canada and Kevin wearing his Canadian Colsa shirt. So we thought that was great.
It's fitting very
well. All right, so no more questions right now. Okay, so we get this a lot too. As we've evolved the firmware of the IQ2 Plus, we've added a lot of different screens that are available. And I think a lot of people, kind of struggle at times of, what the screen's used for, and when it can be used and when it can't be used. So the first one is scene support. All right, so everybody, should know what the alarm.com scenes are. So those are kind of your, we'll call them, quick macros. If you use open, you could have it open your garage door, unlock your door, or turn the temperature up, do whatever. You can actually add those to the panel, and they'll show up down here on the bottom left, and that's your scene screen. So if you actually tap that, you'll see this. The big note there is if you're using partitions, right, and this is something we're looking at changing, or at least having conversations of changing in future firmwares. If you're using partitions, unfortunately, the scene screen support is not available. But it is, again, it's something we've heard. We listen, we obviously listen to the feedback, and we're looking to see if we can change that. All right, Scott, I think you're up.
I am. The thermostat page. So the thermostat page can be enabled to appear as part of the primary user interface as well, as long as the thermostat has been added to the panel. And this also comes back to the client's features with alarm.com for these to display as well. So,
Scott, what if a customer had 2 thermostats?
That's a great question, Neil. So you can see those little screen dots at the bottom, so you can slide between different views. If I had multiple thermostats, maybe an upper floor or basement, all I would see is those dots on the left of the 22 degrees there, and that would be Celsius. And you'd have 2 dots there, and you could slide up and down and move between the 2 thermostats.
Oh, that's great. Okay, so it's kind of the same, with a door lock page. Some people want to have their door lock page on their panel UI. You don't have to. Again, it's just enabled through the installation settings, and to appear as part of that primary user interface. As you see here, there's five doors. All right, so what Scott was saying on the thermostat screen, so there's 5 doors. So I could swipe through all 5 doors individually. You can obviously get the battery level of the device, and you also have the option for unlocking all or locking all with just one click, right? So, we've heard this question too. So if 4 of the 5 doors were locked and you hit lock all, what's going to happen? It's just going to lock the 5th door, right? So the one door that wasn't locked will then be locked. All right.
Perfect. The home control page. So this has been added in later firmwares, and this allows you to have up to 2 different types. You have to have a minimum of 2 different types of automation devices, and now I can have it all on one screen. So I can have a light and a lock just on one screen, rather than what we showed you earlier, where you'd have like a lights page, a thermostats page, and garage page. Well, now we can just have it all in one. Please note though, when this screen, where it pulls your automation devices from, is it's your first learned in Z-Wave device in that category. So it'll learn the first light, it'll select that light. If you have multiple lights, it's going to just pick that first one you have. If you have multiple locks, it takes that first lock that you have.
Cool. And then, yeah, just as a note, the same kind of rule applies here too. If you have partitions enabled, this screen's not available either. All right, wellness page. Okay, so everybody, or you probably know about our wellness, alarm.com wellness service. So we've actually incorporated a lot of that into the IQ2 Plus. So you can have the wellness page show up as part of the primary interface on the panel as well. Same restriction applies. This screen is not available if you're using partitions. And then when you add this, you can actually add a second page, which is the check-in, check-out page. So that gives, kind of the ability for a nurse or a caregiver to be able to check in, check out, and have their picture taken by the panel as a record of the visit. You could also use it for your, somebody walking your, dog walker as an example. You'd be able to use that as well. So yeah, they hit check in, it takes a picture of them, it stores it on the panel. That way you're just making sure that, the services you're paying for, be it a home nurse, a visiting nurse, are actually being delivered on time. You'll be able to see when they arrived, when they left. But you can't use check-in, check-out unless you enable the wellness page as well. All right, so before we go any further, do we have any further questions on the chat, gentlemen?
Hey, Neil, maybe I missed it. Did you guys show how to enable the video stream down to the panel? If you did, can you show it again, please?
Enable the video stream.
For the alarm.com cameras to stream to the panel?
I don't know if we had that screenshot.
No, we don't, but that is actually a future webinar. But, to make it simple, it's exactly, kind of the same process. You're going into alarm.com, and when you go into your video, your settings, you'll actually have the ability to choose which panel or which devices you want to stream to the panel. So you can choose all your cameras, your doorbells, whatever you choose. Pick those cameras. You can also, there's a setting, there's a setting in installer settings too, where you can actually send that video directly to the secondary touchscreen as well. The only challenge with the secondary touchscreen is there is no audio, so you can't do two-way voice or use your doorbell per se through the secondary touchscreen. But that is a future session of how to stream all your different cameras. If we do have time, I could probably pull it up on another. I could probably pull it up. So, great question. Any other questions on the chat, Jen?
And again, that's all done from the user side of the alarm.com side. So they select what video is going to broadcast to the panel, and they can pick and choose.
I was actually going to say, I believe we have a pretty good document that that shows how to do that. That I'll dig up really fast on the website through the dealer portal, and then drop it in the handouts or a link to it at the very least, and put it in the chat here.
Sounds great.
Thanks.
Any other questions, Mark, Joel, before we move on? We're going to actually finish on time.
So we're good there. So if you're not aware, and some of you have been, because we've had a great turnout the past couple weeks here. So we have Jonathan and Stuart next week for testing and tools on the IQ2. So that's February 18th, same time. So please, hope to see a bunch of you attending.
That's great. And then, yeah, so just so everybody's, kind of what's coming up soon. So, next week, the next few weeks after Jonathan and sort of things next week, we're going to have the top 10 tech support questions on Neo, the best practices for pairing PowerG, digital technical resources and support. We're going to have a sneaky little product review that will be coming up as well. And then, as you can see, I mean, we've got customizing the remote displays, a PowerG Temp sensor presentation with smarter business temp monitoring. So that is one of the newer Alarm.com features. How to set up live answer on the panel, partitions. We're going to talk all about partitions, advanced programming, and PowerG PIR Cams. Another product reveal, and then we're going to have one more time the tech, kind of the top 10 tech support questions for PSP. We'll just quickly see if the screen will drag over. Having a challenge here. So the question was, how do you stream the video to the panel? So you can literally go hit video settings again, and you'll see the option for stream video to the security panel. And you'll be able to just choose exactly which cameras you want to stream to your panel and which ones you don't. So it's really that simple. You can enable all, disable all, or just choose whichever ones you want to be able to have on your main panel. And again, you do have the option to stream those videos to the secondary touchscreens as well. So we got 4 minutes. Anything else, Mark, Joel, Nate?
Thanks for showing that, because I tried to download the document off the website, and I think every person on this webinar is trying to do the same thing because it said that it's maxed out. I couldn't even get to it.
Yeah, but it's literally that easy. You just you log into the portal, hit video settings, and then you'll see the option for streaming video. You can do it through the mobile app now as well. Something
Absolutely.
that was not available previously.
I had a gentleman ask, let's see, how do we get the weather to the panel?
Weather to the panel? As long as you have the functionality enabled in your service package on alarm.com, it'll automatically push to the panel. If you see that it hasn't pushed to the panel, you can actually go into the legacy AirFX toolkit on alarm.com, and you'll actually see push weather to the panel, and it'll refresh it.
Awesome, thank you.
And Neil, correct me if I'm wrong, that thing updates about every like 8-12 hours or something too, right? Does it not? Is it live today? Or I think alarm.com sends it down by your postal code, roughly 8 to 12 hours kind of thing. So
yeah, it does. It refreshes at least twice a day, correct?
Hey Neil, can you turn off the voice for the panel?
Can you turn off the voice?
Yeah,
so you can. Talking. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, depending on what you're trying to turn off, if you're trying to turn off the chime as far as the voice for a single device, when you're in your when you're adding the sensor, you can add the sensor. You can actually just hit the drop down and choose not to have voice, and you can just have a chime, or you could have neither.
Awesome. Here's one. I actually like this question. What is the recommended Z-Wave repeater for use with the IQ2?
Ooh, that's always a good one. Well, the best repeater is always, going to be obviously a light switch or, I find that actually the thermostats do a really good job of repeating. I like the AOTech repeaters, the little repeaters. I love those things, right? They work great.
Just make sure that thermostat has a C wire though, if you want it to repeat. If it doesn't have the C wire, no repeating.
On your thermostat, correct. Good point.
Good point. I love the IQ siren as well, gentlemen, because you get an extra benefit there of having a siren strobe and then a repeater that can be put almost anywhere where you can plug it in. So,
and they are incredibly loud. Incredibly loud, and the strobe is definitely a nice, cost-efficient solution, right, using the Qolsys siren. All right. Anything else, gentlemen, on the questions?
I think we're ending on time here.
We are ending on time. Well, everybody, again, thank you for your time, and please come back next week. Again, these are for your benefit, and Jonathan and Stuart are going to have a pretty cool session next week on testing and tools that are available on our IQ platform. Thanks, everybody. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day.
Thanks, all.
Take care.